Imagine Dave Obey saying he was struggling on a congressional salary of $174,000 a year. That's what Sean Duffy, the guy who shames the legacy of Dave Obey, in that seat says. And the reason Dave Obey would never say this is because he's in touch with the people of Wisconsin and the people of the North Woods. For years, he honored us with his service on behalf of the working men and women, not on behalf of Wall Street fat cats. And let me assure you, he has not stopped his fight to make Wisconsin a better place. He has not given up 1 inch of time, 1 moment of rest to make sure that we are not doing everything we can to turn back the Walker-Ryan agenda. We are so proud and lucky to have him with us tonight. Please welcome Congressman Dave Obey.
I don't know who that was playing the harmonica. Pretty good. Let me first explain why I am carrying this cane around. When I decided to retire, I thought I needed some retirement counseling, and so I went to Brett Favre. He told me that the Minnesota Vikings needed a punter. I should try out, so I did, and I tore a meniscus in my knee. Now, obviously, that's not the truth, but you wouldn't expect a politician to tell you the truth anyway. Actually, it's all Herb Kohl's fault. I went to the Capitol to have lunch with Herb and talk about some things, and as I was walking down the steps of the Capitol, I simply blew a knee, tore a meniscus, that was it, and I'm hobbling around on this thing, although I think I'm getting better. Before I say anything else, I want to simply express my appreciation, as did Ron Kine, for the tremendous public service Herb Kohl has provided the state all of these years. A lot of the younger members here won't even know this, but Herb Kohl was serving this party long before he was in the United States Senate, when he served as state chairman of this party. And he has demonstrated, as you know, incredible decency and a tremendous fealty to the values that we hold dear in Wisconsin, and I'm proud to have served in the same Congress with him. As you know, Wisconsin has occupied a special place in the history of this country. Before the turn of the last century, Wisconsin was like virtually every other state in the country. It was controlled lock, stock, and barrel by big business interests. Then a fellow by the name of Bob LaFollette came along. He turned the politics of this state right side up and put the average person in this state back in charge. And that history explains why it is so jarring to see the assault on economic security and economic justice that we are witnessing today being led by 2 politicians from Wisconsin. At the national level, as you know, we see Paul Ryan leading the effort to repeal the 20th century by pushing the radical new federal budget. At the state level, we see Governor Walker doing the same thing. Now, Congressman Ryan has just produced a budget which he claims is the road to economic and fiscal salvation. And he's made some segments of the press and the pundit class swoon by cleverly selling his package as our last best shot at fiscal responsibility. Those editorial writers swoon because what Ryan recommends lowers the cost to government. But they miss the hidden ball trick. The Ryan plan is very easy to understand. if you look at all of it. First of all, while Ryan's plan masquerades as an entrepreneurial budget, it really shrinks opportunity for middle-class working families who are struggling to find affordable college educations for their sons and daughters. It clobbers student aid programs, such as Pell Grants. Second, it repeals health care reform and puts insurance companies back in the driver's seat. Third, and this has received the most attention, and it should, the Ryan plan shreds Medicare. But fourth, and this is not nearly as well understood, it absolutely shreds Medicaid. Now, Republican Party strategists like to dismiss Medicaid as just being a program that helps the poor, but that is far, far from the truth. It is often a key to keeping middle-class families' heads above water. Medicaid is often used, as you know, by middle-class working families to help pay nursing home costs for granny and grandpa. By slashing Medicaid funding, working-class families will often be pushed into doing what they did in the 1950s when granny had a stroke or broke a hip. What happened in the 50s was that families simply built another room onto the house or converted a bedroom to a hospital room, and they took care of granny. But the difference is that in the 50s, somebody in the family was home to take care of granny. But today, with mom and dad working outside of the home, in most instances these days, nobody is home to take care of granny. That is a crucial difference which Mr. Ryan overlooks. So the Ryan plan shifts costs for education, for medical research, for science, for health care, Medicare, and Medicaid to private families in order to save money for the government. But here's the trick. What does Ryan do with all of the dollars that the government saves by shifting those burdens onto the shoulders of working families? Does he eliminate the deficit? Oh no. Instead, he uses a huge part of those so-called savings to cut tax rates for corporations and the very wealthiest, paid for by middle-class misery. It is just another Trojan horse maneuver to move trillions of dollars up the income scale, out of the pockets of people who work for wages, into the stock portfolios of the very wealthiest. And let's put it in context. Over the past 30 years, as you know, we have seen the income of average middle-class American families gradually stall out and even decline when you factor in inflation. In contrast, since 1977, the average income of the wealthiest 100th of 1% has skyrocketed from $3.5 million to $35 million, a tenfold increase at the expense of people below them on the economic ladder. As a result, the wealthiest 20% now control 85% of America's wealth, while the rest of America has to settle for table scraps. Now look at it. Americans want to succeed, and they want other Americans to succeed. We recognize that. They want hard work and risk and imagination to be rewarded. But they recognize that there are certain norms of decency, at least there should be. They don't want a tiny, lucky few to take all the marbles because the markets do not provide any checks and balances that give hard-working wage earners any power at all to defend their right to a decent standard of living. So the Ryan plan does not just threaten seniors and students, it's also an assault on the economic security of families across the board. And that is the Republican gift to the nation these days.